All right, Miss Addison. First time on
Hello.
a podcast. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
it's my first time. This is my first official one.
Wow, this is a big deal, I think,
I
actually.
know it is a big deal. I'm super excited to be here.
Well,
I'm excited for what you're going to throw at me.
it's going to be a lot, probably. We'll see. But
Okay.
I am very impressed with your content. One, I
Thank
think you have
you.
awesome content. But I was really curious. I mean, you have an extremely large following, but how did you even start this journey to get to where you are now?
Before I went to college, I actually always wanted to be a YouTuber.
No.
So, yeah, yeah, but like in a different way. Like I was watching all the vlogging, like in like the iJustine era of YouTube. Like I was like, I want to do that. But I didn't know what I was going to do. So when I went to school for exercise science at Oregon State University. And I was teaching yoga classes there. Like I started teaching yoga classes super young when I was 17. And so I was super into that. And I thought that would be a great way to start making videos. So I began creating a library really for myself of the things I was learning and putting it on YouTube. And it was pretty early on that I figured out I didn't want to have a job in a normal way. So, so I was like, I'm gonna make this YouTube thing work. So, like in my last year of college, I was really, really, really consistent. Honestly, I think my first year on YouTube was my like most consistent year. So I had a really strong foundation.
Interesting. So I this is yoga month. I'm doing all yoga interviews
Oh,
pretty
really?
much.
Okay,
And
sick.
but most of the people are influencers or you're in that
Hmm.
in YouTube, right? And
Hmm.
you're probably one of the first people to say, I wanted to be a YouTuber.
Yeah, I wanted to. And I don't even know if these videos are still up anywhere. I had a couple failed channels that are really embarrassing. Like like through college, I was really, really trying. Like I didn't really want to me when I was first starting, I thought doing yoga was gonna be boring. Like I wanted to be more of a personality on YouTube, which is kind of funny because that's how my career has kind of transformed. Like now I feel like I have more of that. Um, but in the beginning I was like, no, I want to do vlogging and I had all these little silly videos running around campus and just like showing my day-to-day life in college and those were not hitting. But the yoga, and I was also really professional about the way I went about yoga. So I'm really proud of even the original content that I put out. So I feel like that's why people were drawn to it.
Wow,
Also, I have my
that's interesting. Oh yeah, drink whatever you want. I mean, can't believe the stuff that's happened on this podcast. But so okay, so let's dive into this. Okay, so
yeah,
you said you had some failed channels; they didn't work. What
yeah.
have you found that does work? Because a lot of people want to know this. They want to understand the influencer culture. Like you're doing a lot of stuff. You're trying on clothes, you're doing yoga, all
Mhm.
this stuff.
Yeah.
What did you find that worked for you?
And it's not, I don't really think that it was the content itself that wasn't working. I really think it comes down to the consistency. The type of
Mm.
content that I was trying to make, the vlogging content, is more the type of content for me that I feel I need the motivation to make because I need to have an idea for the vlog. And that was something that didn't really come so naturally to me at that point in my life. I feel like doing something that comes natural to you is like so important because with the yoga videos, I could sit down and film like three, four, five videos easily. With the vlogging, it took so much mental energy for me. Like I was so uncomfortable in front of a camera. I would watch it back. I wouldn't really like what it was. And so like it wasn't really exciting. I feel like I was trying to do something or be someone that I wasn't really that at that point in my life. But the yoga for me was super easy for me to be consistent with and I was always happy with my content. I really think that was the biggest thing. Like if I were to keep going with the vlogging as embarrassing as I think it was, I still think it would have been successful. Like if I
Yeah.
could have kept going, you know?
Interesting. That is very interesting with that. So let's keep diving in. So the presentation of self is something I love to talk to people about. And that's
Hmm.
why I love doing podcasts because I get to see the person who
Yeah.
you present through your channel. Do you feel that's a good representation of who, if somebody just met you?
I feel like I'm an interesting person to ask this question too, because I feel like it's depends on like where you find me because I have so many different sides to me. I got into yoga, which is a very like stereotypically wholesome environment in the way that yogis market themselves. But I've also been into dancing and sexy dancing for a really long time. So, like for you guys who don't know who I am, I also do dance and choreography, which is like very sexy floor work,
It's
heels,
pretty
that
amazing,
kind
by
of
the way.
stuff.
It's
Thank you.
amazing.
Um, but I had built up my original following doing yoga. And I had built up, I think, about 100,000 subscribers at that time. And when I had started teaching my dance classes. So I felt it was silly not to use my platform to also market the other side of me. So when I did that, people were so confused. Um, so it depends like where you find me. I feel like when people see my dance videos first and then they meet me in person, they tend to say like, wow, you're like a lot more approachable than I thought, or you seem a lot smarter than I thought.
Oh,
That
what?
sort of thing. Yeah, a lot. Just of the stereotypes of dancers and how I express myself sexually. Um, but then when people see the yogi side and then they look at my content and they find the dancing stuff, they're like, oh, wow. Like at first, I was so worried that people wouldn't take me seriously because of the dancing. Like that, like I was so nervous that that would
Interesting.
discredit all the work I put into my flexibility training. So I feel like it just depends where you meet me, but I feel like meeting me in person is the best way because you'll see all sides of me eventually. They're all me.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? The perception people have. That's one of the
Mhm.
interesting things about the internet is like you can present something of yourself and
Mhm.
people could grossly mistake you. Like that comment
Yeah.
about being not being that intelligent or stupid, like
Mhm.
that's very hurtful, but people
Right.
equate sexuality. And if you're twerking or doing something, they think,
Right.
oh, you must not be that smart. But that's
Exactly.
crazy to have that mentality though.
Which is so silly to me because my entire career has focused on the human body.
Yeah.
So to me, everything works together. They're just different avenues of expressing yourself through your human body, whether it's artistic or like relieving your pain, you know?
Yeah. And you're like,
Hmm.
honestly, seriously, people who want to watch this, like, Addison is extremely talented in her
Oh,
choreography.
thank
Like,
you.
this is like, it's like, it is sexual in nature, which is great, but there's talent there. There's like talent. Like, and I think
Exactly.
that sometimes people struggle with influencing and lack of talent with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have definitely gone a couple directions. For sure. I'm glad it's been received well to this
Yeah.
point. I work very hard at what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it's also finding the balance of putting out both types of content because at the end of the day, I identify as an artist. So sometimes I'll go through phases of life where I am just super into the dancing and I'm feeling extra on that.
Yeah.
And so then sometimes I'm more in my spirituality and I kind of push the dancing to a side for a little bit. So it's like at the end of the day, I'm still moving between these two worlds, but I'm always going back and forth. And there's two things that I can never get rid of. So that's just what
Yeah.
I ended up doing.
I mean, how big of a role do you think the sexuality aspect of it plays in subscribership and
Huge
terms
role.
you're like I like this is a great conversation because as I've
Are
talked
you
to so many
kidding me?
people like
Like,
that.
it plays a huge role. You just can't deny it. That I mean, a majority of my views I don't know majority, but a lot of my views come from people who are just clicking on a thumbnail, and that's just the nature of marketing.
Yeah.
So like it is a business at the end of the day, but also if I didn't get those views from people who just want to see a hot girl doing yoga, my videos might not reach people who actually want it, you know? Because all those views from those people are helping boost my videos. So at the end of the day, it's helping people.
So here's a question. Let's dive deeper into the stats too of it is a lot of the influencers that tell me that the majority of the views are from men with
Yeah,
these videos. Is that consistent with what you've been seeing?
100%.
100%.
Actually, I get more female views on my dance content.
Interesting. Huh.
Hmm.
And the
Yeah, my
yoga is
yoga
very male
content is,
dominated.
yeah, yoga is very male dominated. It's almost like at least from me reading my comments and the analytics, my yoga is more sexualized than my dancing.
Come on.
Yeah, for
That's
real.
crazy.
I get more nasty lewd comments on my yoga content than on my dancing. I get way more supportive comments on my dancing that are non-sexual.
What's the
I
difference?
the
Why though? Why? Why do you think?
I have I think because the dancing, they know that it's sexualized going into it, and people are looking more at the craft of the dance. And I think it's the intimate atmosphere of the yoga setting and just people's, I don't know exactly. I think when it's in your face, people already know that that's what they came there for. But when it's yoga, people have their own thoughts and they're like, ooh, this is kind of kinky. And it's like, she isn't really trying to turn us on, is she? You know? And I'm like, no, I'm literally not. But whatever you get out of it, you get out of it. I think
That's
it's that.
interesting. How interesting is that? That's a different thing. That's like I didn't come here to get worked up, but I am now. Like,
Yeah, I am now.
wow.
Yeah.
So what are your like where you're currently at? What are you striving to do? Because I mean, you're probably you're getting towards like one of the bigger people on YouTube with yoga. I've researched just a lot because it's
Thank
yoga month. I'm
you.
going through all these yoga people. Like you're one of the
Uh-huh.
you're like a rocket ship. This thing is like
Oh, thank you.
right. But
You
I
know,
have other
my channel has always gotten incredible engagement.
interesting.
Always. Like my yoga videos always do well.
Yeah.
And as much as I've tried to change the narrative of my channel when I've gone through phases of my life where I'm like, I don't want to do yoga anymore. I want to make other types of videos. And you can kind of see that on my channel where I
Yeah.
go through yoga phases and I do other types of videos. And I always come back to the yoga because people love it.
Yeah.
And I always come back to it myself. So what did you ask? What am I doing now?
I was wondering where it's going because that's one of the great things I think about these types of things is, people are young or they're, they're getting very well known. But
Mhm.
then I talk to certain influencers, they're like, I don't know if I'll do this anymore in the future. Like, I can't see myself doing this when I'm 45, 50, like,
Mhm.
what's the Addison game plan?
You know, I have kind of two different game plans because my online persona with my YouTube channel is different than my in-person, I guess, persona because I live in LA and most people know me here from my dance classes.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't even know that I have a YouTube channel.
Come on.
They're like, yeah, I've been doing yoga and flexibility for years. When I teach yoga classes in LA, like four people show up.
What?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's super weird.
That's
But when I teach
wild.
an online class, I'll have 200 people tuned in.
Wow.
So, yeah, and when I teach my floor play classes, I'll have a packed class. So, like, I just haven't marketed myself for in-person classes since I moved here. But I started my app. I don't know if you know, it's kind of new.
Oh,
I have an app. It's called the Deep Stretch app. You can find it at deepstretch.app. And I'm doing full on programs. So that's what I've been working on so hard right now. I've been filming like a couple videos a day. So my computer is absolutely overloaded with content. I need to figure out I need to figure out how to fix that because it's moving real slow.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm building out this app, and I also have many other fitness professional friends that I'm going to get on it and have them do their flexibility classes as well. So I've been working really, really hard on that. Because right now the videos I do on YouTube are more so one-off tutorials. And so I'm going to start driving some more traffic over there and connecting people who are really serious about improving their flexibility. So I've been so excited about that. And
Interesting.
I've been
What?
stretching a lot. I've been stretching a lot making this. I'm like
Yeah.
super flexible right now because
What?
I did all of every level.
Man, I love it. I love it. What's this? I see this kind of trend towards more like stretching and stretching art and flexibility. Where is this coming from? It feels like an extension of yoga, but something different.
I think it's great because people have combined yoga and stretching together forever until now. And I'm certified in yoga. I started in yoga, but a lot of what I teach is just pure flexibility training because yoga is a separate entity in itself because yoga is more about the spirituality and the mindset, and yoga carries into your everyday life. So when I'm just teaching you how to stretch your hamstrings, that's not really a full life practice, but it's kind of a gateway into it. Like flexibility training, yes, does still involve breath work because that's going to get you more flexible. But you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're two different things. So I'm really glad that people aren't marketing it as yoga anymore. And I think a lot of yogis will get kind of, there's a lot of drama in the yoga community, silly enough. Like when people are marketing themselves as a yogi and then people are like, you aren't really doing yoga. It's silly.
Yeah, that's actually
Yeah, we
come up
all have the same goal.
right. But you see, there's just so many different aspects to yoga. There's some people who could never feel that they could sexualize it or see it that way. And there's some people who really lean into the sexual aspect of it. And some
Right.
people who
And
lean into
then
the
there's
spiritual
like
aspect of it.
tantra. Yeah. And it's like at the end of the day, when you're connecting to your body that is sexual, like it doesn't mean that you're having sex. It's a spiritual practice is a sexual practice
I
for
love
however
that.
you see that.
I love that. Why do you think people have a hard time with that?
Because it makes people uncomfortable. A lot of people aren't in tune with their sexuality. Like it makes people very uncomfortable. And I've been dealing with this for so long in yoga and dance. Like the amount of private lessons I've done with women who just want to be able to feel sexy, like they just want to feel that feeling. It like gives me chills talking about it
Wow.
because like I've had it, I've been raised like that. So I've always been very comfortable. And so I attract people who want me to help them with it. So, like, that is such an important thing. If you go through your life and you never feel sexy and like, you're not comfortable, even just being in your own body, clothed or unclothed, that's a very uncomfortable feeling. So there's just a lot of uncomfortability around sexuality, especially in the States. When I've been traveling a lot in the last year in other countries, it's like so different. People look at my stuff and they're like, you're so hot. I love this. I love that. I love it. Like there's no complaints ever. It's only in America.
Crazy, right? Isn't that crazy? I have a lot of interviews with like sex workers and different people in sex podcasts, and they're always like the best interviews because it's
Yeah.
just people are just like, hey man, it's what I'm doing.
I'm
They
not
accept
hurting
it.
anyone,
Yeah.
doing nothing wrong. Like, and yeah, there's nothing wrong here.
No, no. And but it's also interesting that the yoga ties into it that somebody thinks they're not getting kind of a sexual thing, but then they feel turned on. Like there's clearly a
Right.
connection to it if that's what you're
Right. It's
getting.
like, oh, now you're connecting to other parts of your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just an
And
interesting
just
commentary.
even, Yeah, even just feeling more comfortable in your body is a sexual feeling. Because even people who have so much tightness, like in their shoulders and their hips and everything, if you release that and all of a sudden you're much more loose and relaxed. And a lot of people don't even know how to relax and breathe. And it can really change your life. Like it's in so many levels. I feel like I deal with anxiety so well. And yeah, I'm able to take a step back so well. So
Love
yeah.
it. I love to hear that. Here's a question. If
Yeah.
your subscribership went to zero, went away tomorrow, what would you
Like
be
on every
doing
platform.
on every platform? Who would Adison be?
I feel like I'd be the same. I still have a ton of friends. Like we would just pick up doing dance classes again. I feel I still have like a huge in person. I know so many people. I would just be like, hey, shit's down. Like I would still be doing the same thing.
Love
I
it.
don't really feel like anything would change at all.
That's
And I
so
would
awesome.
definitely start a new channel. Honestly, I would probably have a whole fresh new start. The content would be way better.
That's amazing. I love that. You actually remind me of a yoga instructor, musician, and painter named Cha Wild. She just got suspended from YouTube, and
Why?
she does like she doesn't post it, but she does like nude yoga. Like it's a private
Uh-huh.
thing. But maybe she,
Oh, but she doesn't post it and they took it down?
yeah, I think it was like the assumption that maybe she had put it somewhere like that she did this. It's like whatever. I don't know. And she was like
Oh,
befuddled. She's like, "Why did they take it down?" And she goes, "Oh well, I'll grow
that's
a new
really
channel."
bizarre. Well, that
Yeah,
better not happen to me.
Addison, it better not happen to you. But you
You
guys are
know what?
similar. She's like, "Whatever, I'll do new content. I'll grow another channel." She's like, "I'll take this opportunity to do something
That's
else."
really
And she did.
bizarre. Yeah.
Do you worry about that though at all, like being suspended?
Um, no, because no. Even I have like my yoga channel, I don't feel like I post questionable things on there. And yeah, I don't know. I don't like, there's a lot of yoga channels. I don't really play with the angles. Like, you'll never see a yoga video where there's like an angle from the back. I always do like a professional angle, you know?
Yeah,
So I feel like I like to keep it very professional because even if people think it's sexy, at least when you're watching, it's not like you turn around and it looks like there's porn on your TV, you
yeah,
know? You can tell it's a yoga video.
right.
So I keep it that way. And even my floor play channel, I mean, videos will get 18 plus, but since it's all copyright music, I don't think YouTube's worried about me. Like I'm not making a bag on floor play. That's just for
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, how much of yourself do you ever think about how much of yourself you should project to your channel, or like say, hey, I want to keep some of this private? Do you ever think about that?
You know, I love that you asked that because I've been wanting to, even since I started when I was talking about my failed vlogging, I've been wanting to open up more. And I just always feel like I can never be consistent with it. I go through phases where I'm creating so much content that that is the last thing on my list is making a personal video. It was like, because even you still have to prepare for it and you still have to edit it. You know, it's still like a whole process. And even if it's a personal video, you're still orchestrating it and you're still posting it. So even in the last, I think people might like the video I'm about to post actually this Friday. It's like a 20-minute video of just me talking about what's been going on in my life. So maybe people will like it. I would like to post more of it. I like to record stuff like that more for myself. So maybe people will like that. I want to post more of it.
That's so funny. That's, like I have approached a lot of people like doing not what you're doing, but it's yoga type
Mhm.
stuff. And they say the same thing you said. Well, I feel like it's like the last thing I'm going to be doing. Like it's like I'm not thinking about doing a video of me talking. Like they're very into the other content.
Also, I think what it is I don't have this might sound I'm taking it back. I was gonna say I feel like I don't have that much to say, and that's not it. I feel like once I say something, I already feel like it's said. So then I don't have like a sequel video. Like the video I just filmed is like me summing up the last year of my life and all my thoughts. I'm like, well, this happened and this happened, this happened. Now I'm like, well, I don't know how to make another video because I already just talked about it. I already told you all the things I'm working on. So now that's just the way my brain works. I told you
Yeah.
what I'm working on, so I have to go do it. And then I'll come back once I've done it and I'll talk about what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
I'm just not someone who keeps going like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually think
I
it's
just get to the point and then we move
yeah.
on.
I mean, do you think that people want I'm not trying to make this sound bad at all. Like, do you think that
Yeah,
people want to hear what you have to say, that they be engaged with like, hey, Addison's
I think
talking about these
so.
things?
I think so. I mean, honestly, I don't know how much research you've done on me, but I do OnlyFans too. So I feel like I've gotten most of that kind of interaction from OnlyFans. And it's funny because yes, I do OnlyFans nudity on OnlyFans, but I feel like the people come to my OnlyFans because they want to connect with me on a more intimate level. And I don't the people I've attracted to my OnlyFans, I don't feel pressured by them. I almost feel like I'll go on live and just chat, you know. So I
Yeah.
kind of feel like I get that.
Okay.
That so I know people want that. Um,
I see. Oh, it's interesting because the lady I had before that I was talking to, you guys remind me so much of each other. Like, and
huh,
you
maybe we'll
should
be
know it. You
friends.
should know each other. Like a lot. I really like as a long-term fitness professional, 20 something years. I know a lot of my colleagues. I enjoy having that relationship with them. And I
Mhm.
feel like the yoga influencers I met, I feel like they don't talk to each other that much.
No, we're all very like I like to spend a lot of time alone.
Yeah. Yeah, but it'd be interesting, like because a lot you
Okay.
guys have different, you guys have very similar perspectives, and there's some collegiality to that I think I don't know could be beneficial, and it's the talking part. It's the like
Mm.
the talking is the last thing that I feel like
Yeah.
people want to do, but then they want people to know them on a deeper level. You have to talk. You have to have these
I think it's when
interactions.
the camera's on because when I'm just hanging out with my friends and I'm talking and I'm always thinking, I should make a video on this. I actually have a lot of really solid opinions on this topic. Sometimes I'll even write it all out and then I don't know. I don't think I've fully gotten my delivery method that feels organic to me. Like even just talking with you on this podcast, this feels way more organic than me just sitting down and making a video by myself. I would rather have someone interview me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know what's interesting? So this goes back to so I do a series with this yoga influencer Susie Ray. She's awesome. So we like once a
Okay.
month we sit down and we do an interview. And she at first she was like hard for her because she was like, I'm just not used to talking about myself like this. But she's really warmed up to it because this is what I want people to know about me, that I'm more than just this. Like there's things I have thoughts
Yeah.
about other things, you know.
Hmm.
And I think that's I like to do that with people because I think there is so much that you're intelligent about, that you have opinions about.
Hmm.
And for most of the things, people are just getting like what you like to wear, the yoga routine you're doing, whatever, a day in your life, what you like to eat. And that's all great. That's all great.
Hmm.
But I think a lot of us want to have people to see a different side of us, that we feel about
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. And I think for me, I like to feel like I don't know if authority is the right word. Like I like to feel like I at least have some respect around the topic before I'm just preaching about it.
Mm.
Like I used to have people tell me, "Oh, you should make ebooks and like videos on how to grow your YouTube channel and stuff. To me, I don't feel like I feel like now I'm getting to the point where I could do that. But I feel like in personally, I feel like I need to get a million subscribers
Yeah.
first before I feel like I have earned that respect. Like people have been telling me to do that since I hit 100K. You should do this. And I'm like, no, I don't really feel like, I mean, I have my tips and honestly, they're the same tips. Like, but I just feel like I want to hit that place first before I'm talking about it. And that's like with my flexibility. I needed to know how to do a split before I could talk about it. That's why I'm very confident in teaching people how to do flexibility and dance tutorials. And so I almost feel like I have to feel like I fully encompass that before I'm speaking on it.
That's funny because you're basically there.
I
Like,
know. Well, from the outside, I think I'm just as everyone is hard on
yeah.
themselves.
Like honestly, like when I reached out to you, I was like, she's probably not going to get back to me, because you're at this gigantic level on YouTube,
Mhm.
right? I just started my YouTube like last March. Like I didn't
Uh-huh.
care about YouTube. Like I was just doing audio stuff, whatever. But sometimes the larger someone is, the less relatable and the less communicative they are, which was surprising
Mhm.
that you got back to me. Seriously. I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Aw.
I was like, because that happens in a lot of industries. The higher someone goes and the more notoriety they have, the less available they become to other people.
You know what's silly? And out of everything I do, I honestly think the least amount about my YouTube channel. Not
It's
right.
funny. What are you saying?
Because I've had it for so long that
Yeah.
it's just kind of something that I do. And also in my personal like day-to-day life, it's not brought up. Like it's kind of like just an online little thing that I do. Like my online community is completely different than my
Yeah.
in-person community. So it's not like I'll go on and I'll read the comments and I'll reply to people, but I'm very separated from it. So
I think that's surprising. I think a lot of people who hear this are going to be shocked by that. They're going to be
yeah, I
shocked
think
by
so
that.
too. Because it's also like my biggest number. I'm almost at 700,000 subscribers
Okay.
now. And honestly, since I started growing, it's been growing very consistently. And it's just been like my channel's always gotten great engagement, and I'm so grateful for that. I think that's because I had a really strong base.
Yeah.
And when I first moved to LA and I had no money and was like, YouTube was not paying me money at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like I was working like full-time job and everything. YouTube, I was like, I cannot do this right now. Like I need money now. And so and I took a big break from YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, and I wasn't really sure like where the direction with that was going because my heart was telling me to go towards dance. And my mom was so mad. She was like, Addie, you've done all of this yoga work and now all you're doing is dancing. And she's like, and I'm like, Mom, you're right. And then like it came back like 2 years later. I'm like, Mom, I'm doing the yoga again. um, but I think that's just the natural bit of growing up and not knowing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
Hmm.
I think these are just ideas and takes from you that probably people on your channel would never think that you were thinking this at
And
all.
also, I didn't really feel like I fit in with the yoga community. And also, I can't get a lot of brand deals by a lot of yoga brands because I'm too scandalous for them. So I was kind of, when I realized that, I was a little bit like, well, shit, like Alo Yoga or like Lululemon, they would never
Yeah.
work with me. Like
That's
I'm
crazy to
just
me.
too far left or whatever. Yeah. And like I had some brand deals, people like offer me big brand deals, and then they found out I was doing the and at that point I wasn't even doing OnlyFans. I was just dancing. So at this point, it's long gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
so so at that point I was like, well, no one even all I can really monetize is just the views. like companies don't really want to work with me. So I was like, I'm just gonna go dancing. Um,
Honestly, I find that crazy. What's so bad? Well, seriously, what's so bad
but
about floor
this is
play?
like my
Like,
life. This is my life
seriously.
thing that I'm dealing with. But it's funny now because like I mean I can get sponsorships on OnlyFans and like it's not a problem now because I think once you reach a certain point, no matter what you do, people don't care. Like you could be a porn star your whole life and be an iconic porn star, and then all of a sudden now you have all these brand deals who would never work with you before when you were working, you know?
Yeah. I mean, once you reach a certain level and then people feel like they can benefit from you on a
Yeah, then
large
all of a
level,
sudden it doesn't
then
matter.
the
It
morality
doesn't
is
matter
over
what you
then.
have.
There's no
Yeah.
morality at that point. It's just
No,
green. It's
no, it
just
doesn't. Yeah, at that point, if you can make a money, then it speaks, which is, I kind of committed to that. I was like, you know what, right now it's not working, but one day they won't even care. And literally, it's the same companies reaching back out.
yeah. I love your attitude about all this. Like it feels like you're doing what you want to do,
Yeah,
and
I
you're having a great
am.
time. Like you're having a great time
Yeah,
doing it.
I'm having an incredible time. I couldn't make myself do anything else. And I think that's what gives me a lot of security in it because even times I'm like, oh shit, well, people don't really like this. I'm like, well, I'm gonna do it anyways. So
Yeah.
this is just what I like to do. And
I think it shows. Honestly, Addison, I
yeah,
really think it shows. And like seriously, for like me, like you have talent. You have actual talent. It's not like
I appreciate
you're
it.
right, you're not doing stuff and it's like, okay, well, I know what this is about. Like you don't do the work that you've done. I've seen several of those floor play videos. That's hard work.
Oh, thank you.
That's hard work. That
Thank
is not
you.
just
I know it's
dancing. That's
hard.
hard work. That's physical work. There's a tremendous amount of mobility, stability, strength, endurance, everything to do that. It looks great, but there's a lot of work involved with that
And
too.
LA is the hardest dance industry to get into. So I'm
Exactly.
super proud. Like, yeah, it's crazy. I'm going into year 3 now of teaching in LA. So,
That's awesome,
and
man.
it's sick. I'm
I
so
got to tell
excited.
you, I really respect what you're doing. And the maybe the craziest thing you've said is that this is your first podcast. That may be one of the craziest things.
You know what? And I mean, I have a little bit of experience because, right, when we thought COVID was going to end and then it didn't around that time, I was actually starting my own podcast with a friend. And we filmed like 7 episodes and it was lit. But the guy who was shooting it fucked up the audio.
No,
Yeah. So
no.
one day we'll do it again.
Yeah. No, I think you'd be
Yeah.
great. I think it's all part of your whole brand. I think you can have several
Mhm.
different things that you're doing with it. But I'm just
Mhm.
happy, that we had this opportunity to connect with each other.
Yeah, thank you for having me. You're an
Seriously.
incredible host.
Thank you. I've been doing this a while. I better be decent at it. I'm like,
How many episodes have you shot?
well, I think we're in the 570s coming up here. Like it's a
Oh
lot.
my God.
Yeah, I'm like a
Yeah.
prolific
You're
producer
real
of content.
comfortable.
Yeah, I don't get intimidated by anybody. I don't care what they do, anybody could sit
Okay,
in
I
front of
love
me and I
that.
feel good about it. I'm like,
I love that.
but
Well,
I
maybe
think
if
this
you
is
sit
good.
and think of some more questions, then let me know and we can, or if people comment on this and have more questions, we can do a round 2.
I would love that. See, I always have a plan about more stuff.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know what? Let me talk to you about this off camera.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Listen,
Sounds
tell
good.
everyone how they could connect with you because people, they're going to want to see this. Addison's amazing. Please tell everyone.
Mhm. Okay. You can find my yoga channel. It's youtube.com/flowwithadee, ADEE for Addy, or just search up Adison Briana. And my floor play channel is youtube.com/floorplay. And you can find me on Instagram at Adison Briana. Hmm.
Boom. There it is. Addison, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.